the original Ranger in the original run of 3 3/4-inch G.I. Joe, a Real American Hero line, Lonzo Wilkerson, codenamed Stalker, or in recent times, Sergeant Stalker, brought a certain ruggedness to the line that helped show audiences what the G.I. Joe team was made of. Born in Detroit, Lonzo was the leader of a Detroit street gang before deciding to change his path and join the Army. It was there that Lonzo's tenacity and natural skills to lead came into play. Excelling in any training, becoming an expert in just about any weapon he used, fluent in multiple languages, even serving on the same special patrol with the likes of Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. Yeah, it's really no surprise that Lonzo soon found his way onto the most daring, highly trained Special Missions Force. Hey everyone, my name is Jonathan, aka JK of JK Collects, and remember, I'll be posting a new video at least twice a week, if not more. And if that sounds of interest to you, please click that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. And in this episode, we are taking a closer look at the Hasbro 6-inch scale G.I. Joe Classified series, Sergeant Stalker. Okay, hey everyone, welcome back. Here he is, Mr. Lonzo himself, aka Sergeant Stalker. I see he barely made it in under the window with the plastic window eligibility, right? So we've got a little bit of plastic on this one, but let's flip it around. We've got the G.I. Joe mural back here with, gosh, look at all these characters. I honestly can't get over how many there are these days and how many this is just a checklist, and it's like, yeah, got them all, ready for more, right? Always happy to see that Wolverine down there. Okay, so nice mural on the background. Obviously, that's kind of changing as we see the windowless packaging come around. Here are his rankings, right? So pretty high rankings on several of these abilities, right? He's no joke, as we heard in the introduction. We'll look around and say, look at that number 46. Wow, gosh. Every time I see these numbers climbing, I just get excited because there are more to come. And they've already given us so many. And look at this art here, right, on the side. I just love how they work with these different artists to bring a rendition of these characters. It wraps around here a little bit. If we had the windowless packaging, we would have a full cover of being able to see that art. But we do get to see the artwork that the figure is itself. So you know what? Both are a win. I know a lot of people much prefer to be able to see their figure so they can display it in packaging. And you know what? I am not one to argue against that. You've seen my background. But okay, enough rambling. I could do that all day, as we know. Let's ramble about Mr. Lonzo. And let's talk about old Sergeant Stalker. So let's break him free of it. Look at that. Check. Done. Let's break him free of his buns here. So there we go. Empty box. Nothing else in there. He is no longer bonded to this paper box. Oh man, look at this. There's so much stuff. It's just falling out. That is one thing I really appreciate about the Classified series line is you can already see that he came with a bunch of stuff and there was stuff hidden back there, right? So there's more to come from what you even see. More than meets the eye, if you will, to borrow from another line. All right, let's bust him out first. Let's get him out of there because these all have a little piece of tape holding them on. So there's one weapon, two weapons. Never let it be said that Sergeant Stalker is not ready for anything right now. Not to be mistaken for Sergeant Slaughter, right? Now we do have a video of an unboxing of that gentleman as well. What a legendary icon. And here we are getting to unbox yet another legendary icon who's been around since the beginning of the Real American Hero line. Gosh, so many little things. Okay, I've got them all. Clear package. There we go. And I did have something drop, so pardon me for one moment. See if I can spot it real quick. I see it, and we're back. It was that. You know what? So what? We'll start with it. How about that? Let's shift our focus so we can get it nice and close. There we go. Nice little knife for backup. Good detail on it, right? So excellent job with the silver paint. I don't really see any major issues that stand out, especially with something so small, right? It's nice and shiny. I appreciate the shiny silver that they use to give it that metallic look to it. And then the grip even has some pretty good little detail in there as well. I'd be remiss if I didn't say just a blanket statement across all these weapons. You can always do a little bit to enhance and bring out those details. Look, it even has a little bit of indentation, see, to make it a little bit more, we'll say, ergonomic grip of that blade. And we've got this, what should we call this? A shawl? a little a wilderness battle shawl, you know. But you know what? It's ready for him to wear, ready to pop on. Looks like we're dealing with a head removal to be able to add it, but we'll play with that here in just a little bit. You know what? Before I put it away, let's check out the textures of this thing, right? Even took the time to put the textures on this, even individualized some of the tassels with some of the sculpting on there. Might be a little close for it. There we go. See some of the little fringe coming off of it. Very well done, right? Yet again, no real wash to pull things out, but you know, I can't argue with just the quality that it already is. Here's Mr. Lonzo's hat, right? With his looks like we got a ranking on the front. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. But anyway, nice little going on there. Looks good, right? So paint is good. The gold seems to be almost perfect, but if there we go. Right there, looks like it went just a little bit over, so maybe the shape for the paint was just a little bit off, because you can see here on the bottom it's slightly off about as much as it is there. So when it went in to get painted, I guess the calibration of it was just slightly off, but again, tiny little thing, tiny little details. If I gotta look that close, I can't really be too upset about it. All right, handgun. One cool thing about it, boom, we got an extended magazine for it. So he's ready with his backup weapon here, which has a nice hole so you can put some blast effects in it. Granted, he didn't come with any, but there are some coming with figures these days. Even with the G.I. Joe lineup, if you saw the Viper 3-pack, there are several blast effects included in that. We do have an unboxing and review of that one. So there we go. Great detail on this weapon. Looks good. Nothing stands out. I did my blanket statement, so I'm just not even going to go there. All right, let's pull this guy in here. Oh, man, look at this. This brings back some memories, right? Although I believe, I recall it, you know, with this stock being in a little bit of like a light gray color. Am I right there? Or at least a grayish color, maybe a little bit darker than light gray. But I don't remember it being in the black, but it is nice to see it, right? Welcome back, old friend. Now, can we tell which one of these pops in here? That, maybe? Yeah, that looks about right. Look at that. Okay. So there we go. We always love those attachable and detachable pieces. Right here we're dealing with a magazine for this one. And it's got the, just basically looking at the shape there, you can tell me if you feel like I'm doing this wrong, but by looking at the shape and the size, that seems like it's the one that pops in there. And by gosh, if that doesn't just look fantastic, right? Excellent detail on this thing. So yet again, another weapon well made. But you know what? Then we have this one, which also has the opening for it. But we have this this suppressor here, right? They can plug into the end, which also has room for an effect to come out of it. So, I mean, I guess we could technically put that on just about anything, right? Just, I mean, how long can we make a weapon? How about that? That's the question. Detail? No question to it. There's a lot of detail. There's always detail with these. I mean, they really invest and take the time on these, and they listened, right? I mentioned it in another review. The original set of these figures had very sci-fi style weapons, and they listened to collectors, and they listened to their audience, and they went with more realism on these weapons. So I do appreciate that, right? And then we've got this, right? Oh man, look at that. A little multi-round magazine with some of the rounds hanging out, colored in a nice copper color. You see that? That's looking pretty good, right? I do appreciate the realism look that we've got going for that one. That is nice. Does it stick in down here? That seems like a odd direction. Yep, there we go. Look. Oh, look at that. Look at that. That is exciting. I'm glad we did that. Look at this. Oh, you know what? Let's get the focus on it. I'm here raving about it, and you can't even see it. Look at that. So it plugs in to the bottom here, wraps around, and goes in right there. It's just built to perfectly attach and loop around. That right there, to me, I'm already absolutely over the moon about this figure. I was excited that we got Stalker, the original guy, part of the team, right? So it's good to see that original team available. But that right there, just that, the precision in that. I mean, yeah, the rounds coming out of it are flexible, but just having that little bit of extra detail right there that you can have with the little bit of copper pop coming out of it, that is fantastic. Okay, enough raving about that. We have a gigantic holster for these gigantic weapons to slide down into, right? Now, it's not open on the bottom, so definitely be careful like with what you're sticking in there, but it does have a little slot on the side, so let's test. Looks like maybe this guy will go in there, And maybe his magazine. It's a little tight fit, but maybe it does stick in there, so it is a possibility. It's like a little backpack option that he has, right? So we can have the weapon popped in there. So lots of different things we can deal with there, because let's pull him into here, because now it's time to look at old Lonzo. Look at that. Look at that sculpt on the face. I mean, talk about a guy who's seen some stuff, right? Leader of a Detroit gang, went through all that training, the best of the best. Like anything that he touches and does, he's amazing at, right? And I mean, he looks like he's battle hardened and street hardened, but he also he looks like he knows what he's doing. They did a fantastic job with this. I mean, he's got a little bit of a grimace on there. He's definitely got the serious face. Man, that and there's no face to copy for photorealism, but it is right up there with a lot of those photorealistic faces. It's just haunting because like you feel like you know this guy. But anyway, I digress. Let's move on. So we've got nice little we got a little detail right there, right on the side of the head. That's pretty cool. The hair is well done, right? So we've got a very short cut down here, fading out into the scalp. Very well done. A little bit of, you can see some of the details sculpted into that. I mean, look at just the texture implied with the hair right there. I mean, fantastic. Okay, so let's look at the flexibility of it. So side to side, you know what? Let's look at the flexibility of our focus. How about that first? So we got a little bit of side to side going on there, up and down, looking good. Now the neck and the head, the head is detached from the neck, right? So it's separate from it, and the neck is also separate from the torso. So that's good to see for multiple reasons, right? You got a torso that can have multiple different necks. You have a neck that can be used on multiple different torsos. So we got a lot of parts out there for other figures to come around, right? Now I know there's a lot of repaint and reuse already. But the more we get of that, the more possibilities we get of multiple figures being made, right? The money that's saved is money that can be thrown into producing more for us. I get it. It's a double-edged sword. But back to the head, good mobility on that because we're dealing with the two joints there. And now the most important question, what everybody comes here for, boom, we do have full exorcist rotation twice around. So excellent there. I'm happy to see that. Shoulders, butterfly going on there. Good rotation going on that. So excellent flexibility there. We've got the upper bicep / tricep. Yep, good and pretty tight, right? It took a little bit of effort to get that to turn. And looky here. We got double elbow, pinless. Look at that flexibility. Oh my gosh, that is amazing with no visible pins, right? So pinless elbow, amazing flexibility. It makes my arm hurt that you can bend his arm so close together. It just feels like it's painful. I don't know why, my forearm. Wrist rotation, great. In looking at this joint, obviously we have the back and forth of the wrist flexibility, so that's good. Let's check out the other side. Same joint, same mobility, same basic features, same pinless double elbow. We'll see what we got with the wrist. We definitely have the full rotation, and this one has the up and down, right? So just by looking at the wrist a little bit, it doesn't really move much, but it has a little bit of up and down because it is that weapon holding hand, right? And that's usually a common thing. So just kind of move this to the side. You can see we've got in the torso this interesting joint. It's like call it like a U joint where it does snap into several different positions, right? So it does hold that position because of that snap, which is good for posing. It does help with that. Hip rotation, pretty good there. Yeah, so let's check out the legs. A little bit of, yeah, there it is. There's that pull down for that ultimate flexibility. Are you ready? Of course he can do a split. This is a split that like almost goes into the negative. Look at that. There's nothing that Sergeant Stalker cannot do better than anybody around, right? I mean, that even his split is the best one that I have seen so far in the reviews that I have done, and I challenge anyone to beat it. I've done a Spider-Man one and he didn't beat it. Thigh rotation right there, hidden by the strap of the holster for the sheath for the knife, I should say. Double knee, and I'm seeing it right. These are pinless. Oh, and look at that. It just popped right free. A lot of times that top one gets stuck on a lot of figures. So, I mean, he's ready to go. Great flexibility there. Oh, and look, we've got rotation at the boot. So that does help as well for some more articulation, more flexibility and posing. We've got the up and down on the foot. And of course, we've got the good old ankle breaker. So, gosh, that looks painful, doesn't it? That's the ankle devastator right there. That's not just broken, that is devastated. Same flexibility on the other leg as well. Now let's look at some of these details, right? So accessories, right? He's got this, I don't know what you want to call it, like an overalls type utility belt slash, I know that there has to be harness, a better terminology for this. If you can think of, or you know the better terminology for that, please throw it in the comments. I do love learning stuff. And in a couple of the comments in some of these reviews, people have thrown stuff in there. And if you're watching now, thank you so much for that. Please continue to do so because I love when people teach me new things. So there we go. In looking at it, this, we'll just call it a harness for good measure right now. Shoulder pads up here at the top, a pouch. We've got a knife that does not come out, but that's okay. I mean, we do have one that removes right here, another pouch here, a grenade. You know, it's good to have that little bit of nostalgia from the old figures where there are some things that are fixed, even though we do have a lot of stuff that's no longer fixed that we can maneuver around and remove and add. There we go, a thing to line up with the back hole. We'll see how that plugs in back there, if that really causes any kind of headache. It does want to travel up, as you've probably seen throughout this, me fiddling with it through this review. It does want to travel up a little bit, but no big deal. I think the backpack will probably help hold it in place, and really, once you get it posed, it does stay. It's not like a mold of it is making it pop up. It's just me playing with it. I mentioned the knife sheath, same color, that molded rubbery plastic as this holster over here. Great to see these functional items. So you know what, since they're functional, let's just do it. Let's go ahead and put that the right way in there. I also appreciate that they are directional, right? So there we go, we'll put that in there. And that looks like it might be ready to hold our silencer, our suppressor. Yeah, look at that. He is just ready to hold everything. Another thing that I greatly appreciate about this line, right? Most of the accessories that a figure is given, they can carry it on their body somehow at all times, right? Whether it's in their hands, whether it's on their back, on their heads, or whatever. That is a fantastic detail. Up here, we've got the shoulder pads on the shirt, which is an excellent thing to kind of, say from wear when you've got this harness on there. The paint apps on it look fantastic, right? We already looked at the face, and I mean, just excellent job there. Excellent execution. The camouflage all throughout. Plastic with molded softer plastic. The color matching is, I'm going to say, close enough that I have no complaints on it. The paint's on the hands. It's so rare that I find a major paint issue with any of the Classified line. I don't know what they're doing over there, but G.I. Joe Classified team and Hasbro, you guys are killing it. Running circles around some of the other Hasbro lines. I hate to say it, but it is true. But a lot of the other lines are stepping up, and we're really seeing a lot of amazing things coming out of all of them. Okay, let's check out these other things before we move on. Let's pop that head off and just absolutely devastate things around me. There we go. We'll put this shawl on, whatever we want to call it. So we've got that on there. Oh man, if he couldn't look any cooler. I already thought that he couldn't, and now, golly, this guy. I'm so happy that I got him. If you don't have this figure and you were hesitant to pick it up, I strongly recommend popping in there and getting you one. I ordered mine off of Amazon, but there are multiple places where you can get this guy. I've actually seen him sitting on store shelves already. So keep an eye out for him and hang out with it for just a minute. We're going to get some 360 views of old Alonzo Sgt. Stalker. Oh wait, you know what I forgot? I thought it was time to go. Let's see how easily he stands. Before I'm even done saying it, there he is. He stands on his own perfectly well. Now we'll be right back. All right, and here's Alonzo Sgt. Stalker displaying almost all of his accessories, right? So we've got the backpack on there, we've got the shawl on there, and everything in the holsters, and the weapon, the rifle that we looked at first, the nostalgia one. So there was the other one, right, that had the high round magazine, the high capacity one. I have to add that in trying to put that in his hand was a little bit difficult, right? The trigger finger did not want to flex into the trigger hole on that gun, so I had to kind of put it to the side, and I pulled that one out of the holster from his backpack and put that on. I just wanted to throw that in there because there was a little bit of issue with either hand in getting it to hold. It just, the grip and the way that the trigger finger was done, it just didn't work out quite right. So I just wanted to throw that in there. Otherwise, no complaints on this figure. Highly recommend it. Add it to your G.I. Joe Classified line or any of yours on this scale. But that has been old Sgt. Stalker. Well, that about does it. Thank you for checking us out and for joining on this collecting journey, as always. Look for a couple new videos each week, if not more, and be sure to subscribe and click that like button. It would really help us out, and it would honestly mean a lot to me. If you'd like to see some more videos, there are a couple of quick links on your screen right now for you to check out. But no matter what, thanks for taking the time, and we are all in this world of collecting together. Let's look out for each other. Thanks.